Welcome to the channel, guys. We are back again, and today I'm going to be talking about my top 3 fragrances that I tried in the month of June, so stay tuned for that. And if you like the content, hit that like and subscribe button. Really do appreciate it. So in June, I actually did try a few fragrances, not too many, but I have a lot of samples, really trying to work through them, either in sets or in pairs or something like that, so I can actually get to really trying these, get to doing reviews, letting you guys know what I think, letting you know what they smell like. But in June, there was certainly certain fragrances that to me stood out as the best of the bunch, or personal favorites of mine. And I'm going to be talking about those fragrances, 3 of them. I'm going to talk about them in order, so I do actually have an order for this one. And first is actually something from Amouage. It's from the Opus Collection, or the Library Collection. And this is probably something about Amouage that isn't talked about a lot, so a lot of people I haven't really heard too much talk about the Library Collection. And I guess after sampling the set of 6, I believe there's 11 or at least 10 fragrances in the collection, but I did have a set of 6. After sampling that, I do to some degree understand why a lot of people talk about the Man collection, you know, the Imitation Man or Lyric Man, Beach Hut Man, etc. Because I think that they are better fragrances from my personal tastes, and but these are all very high quality fragrances. But my favorite was actually a little bit of a surprise. So Opus number 5. It's a surprise because not only does it have quite a bit of florals in it, it has quite a bit of iris in it. 2 things I'm not really a big fan of, so I don't generally like florals, and I'm not a huge fan of heavy iris fragrances. But this one comes off, to me, not too feminine. It's actually quite unisex. It has a nice clean accord to it. There's just a little bit of sweetness, and you get a little bit of the rose in there, so it's not overly rosy either. And it is actually a really well done fragrance. In the opening, I do get a little bit of rum, just a little bit, a hint that makes it a little bit boozy, which I do like. This one also has a little bit of oud in it, so it does have a nice floral component with oud, and it's not overly oud rose, which I do actually like about it, because I'm not a huge fan. I mean, not to say that all oud rose fragrances are boring, but oud rose is one of those categories that has tons of fragrances in it. So how many different ways are you really going to do oud and rose? I mean, not really. You got to do something inventive. And this is more reliant on other components than the oud and the rose, or them as a combination. So to me, it still works. It works as something a little bit more novel, and it is a high quality classy fragrance. So I do like this one. This was my favorite from the set. I mean, there are other ones that I like. I liked Opus number 6, for example. Opus number 3 as well. But anyways, that's the end of my exploration for that set. I might try the other Opus collection, the rest of the Library Collection, out at some time, but don't have any plans to do that anytime soon, just because I guess I wasn't really in love with the ones that I found, but I did like this one. Now, next was another big surprise to me, or, well, actually a bit of a big surprise. The next one is none other than Toy Boy by Moschino. Very surprised because it is a rose-heavy fragrance, so I wasn't expecting to like it. I mean, I'd heard a lot of people talk positively about it, and I think one of the things that helped me like it a lot is that I didn't really have high expectations going into it. I know that might sound bad, but, you know, things like Aventus that get hyped up so much, when I tried it out, I'm like, well, yeah, it's nice, but it, like, I mean, you expect it to be like some holy grail. People even talk about it that way, and, you know, the expectation is so high, it just could never be what it was supposed to be, I guess, for me. This one I went into with fairly low expectations, because it is a floral fragrance and it is a rose fragrance, both of which not a big fan of. But this is actually really, really well done. It doesn't actually open up to me smelling a lot like rose. It smells a little bit more like a big red chew. And then a lot of spices start to come forward, becomes very, very spicy. And then it does still have that sweet big red chew vibe with a little bit of slight fruitiness in the background. And as this one dries down, it does start to smell a lot more like rose and rosy to me. It's nice because I think they've done it in such a way that it is fairly unisex. I don't find it to be overly feminine, even though it is a very rose-heavy fragrance. And I think that's something that's generally a little bit challenging to do. I also like it because it's a little bit different from other designer fragrance releases. You know, it's not another blue fragrance. It's not another, you know, generic aquatic fragrance. And it does have a little bit of a nice freshness to it, but it is just nice because, at least in my opinion, a lot of designers over the ages really have been the trendsetters, and now it seems like you get one big fragrance and everybody follows that trend, which I guess is to be expected. They want to make money, but it is not. I think it's a little more challenging to do, but it's better for business, I think, overall. If you can make these new fragrances, you can take a chance, and a lot of these big corporations, they can afford to take a chance. Anyways, I like how it's different. I like how it's rose really well done. I think it is fairly unisex, so a woman could easily wear this fragrance because it is quite floral, quite rosy. But I really enjoy it, and that was a bit of a surprise to me. I think this is one that, you know, can be classed up for sure, but it is definitely one that is best for spring. So it's getting a little bit warmer than I personally would wear it, although in the evening I could see wearing it. But it's a nice one. Now, the next one, not a huge surprise to me that I like this fragrance. I was anticipating I would like it. Now, the anticipation for this one, I will say, was a little bit higher. So it did fall short in that respect, that I had higher expectations than it could meet. But it still was a really great fragrance, and probably my favorite from this past month. So that is Sweetie Aoud, and this is by Roja. So a lot of people have talked about this one. A lot of people love this as a great gourmand fragrance. To me, it's not that gourmandy. It is definitely, it does have a really nice, creamy, almost like an Oreo cream filling kind of a vibe in the opening. And actually, a subscriber mentioned something about, comparing it to Italica, which is actually not completely unfair, at least with the way this one opens up. They have a similar kind of creaminess, but this one comes off a lot more like an Oreo creaminess, or some people describe it as a macaroon. Whereas I think with Italica, it is still, quite a thick creaminess, but it is definitely a different smell. It's more of a silky smooth, kind of a milky creaminess, and they do definitely distinguish themselves. This one comes off quite a bit different. Both very enjoyable. I think the big thing that for me made it not an absolute love, even though I do really like it, is that it's not fully gourmand. So it has this kind of Oreo cream stuffing vibe, but it's not something that lasts the whole fragrance. And there is a really, really strong woody presence, which is nice, but there's definitely a very strong woody presence to this one. And that woodiness does come off my skin to the forefront pretty quickly. So that sweetness and the creaminess definitely does still stay there a while, and in the air it does definitely stay there a while, but it definitely has this really, really strong oud smell, which is not pungent in any way, although it's just a hint of pungentness. It's not like super skanky or anything like that, but it definitely has a more bit of a rugged woody feel to it. Very nice, classy fragrance. Performance is maddening, so lasts a really long time, pushing that 12-hour mark. Projection very strong for a very long time, and performance sillage is also very, very good. So yes, this is a super expensive fragrance, but if you obviously don't want to invest in a whole bottle and you got a decant, it probably would last a long time. And especially with the price point, I would highly recommend sampling it first anyways. And if you are looking for something that's like really, really gourmandy, this is not that fragrance for me. It's gourmandy, but not super gourmandy. But really enjoy those three. Those were the best ones I tried. I think in the next month, I'm going to try and next week, I'm going to work my way through Penhaligon's. I have still this. So I still have, I believe, 8 more fragrances to get through. So that's going to be, I'm going to do that in sets of 2. And then I think I'm going to try and finish my Navitus Discovery set as well, because there are some that I want to talk about from there, and there are some that are worth talking about from the collection. And, I just will work on some other stuff too. But those are the 2 sample sets I really want to get through. I think in the coming month, though, I'm also going to try and get through my Imaginary Author set. I might throw in some of the decants that I've picked up. But anyways, I think that's it for this one. Did you guys try out any fragrances in June? What was your favorite one that you got your nose on? leave a comment down below. Let me know. And as always, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.